You are welcome to the Inside Out podcast. My name is Samuel Ofori-Odame. In our bid to promote the creative industry in Ghana, we seek to take you through some challenges creatives encounter in their works, and this is to help you appreciate what they give us. And so today we would go into the issue of creative block. I hope you've heard this over and over again as pertaining to writers. But creative block does not just happen to writers, but as the name implies, creative block. It means a block experienced by creatives. So creative block is the inability to access one's internal creativity. That means it starts from the mental level. It is when musicians, writers, performers, weavers, stylists, among others, run out of ideas and do not know how to go about the next step. Every creative out there have a point where they encountered this issue. It is bound to happen, but the recovery rate is what matters. It is what makes it a dangerous issue. Upon research, creative block could last for days, weeks, months, or even years. As I said, the recovery rate is what's important. You may be asking, what are the causes of creative blocks? Some creators like F. Scott Fitzgerald and cartoonist Charles Coutts at a point reported periods of stalled creativity. Firstly, self-critic is a factor. Self-critic is very relevant as it could serve as a guide to producing good work, but sometimes creatives get to allow themselves taken away by self-criticism, which then affect their behavior. It makes them feel their work may not be appreciated. Also, if creatives do not receive consistent feedbacks or engagement on their works, they feel they are not meeting the standards of their audiences. That is a sense of approval. Secondly, a lack of financial support could cause creative block. A lot of work goes into creative work, and so if the young creative is finding it difficult to produce work and present to their audience, they get stressed cognitively, and that causes impairment in developing creative works. Also, the death of a loved one or end of relationship could be a causative agent. If one's relation dies or gets what we normally refer to as broken hearts, it affects one's mental health, and that is also a causative agent of creative block. Procrastination. This is one major cause of creative block. Once a writer or a musician tends to procrastinate, they limit their creativity. They are not able to explore opportunities to be more creative. They keep postponing writing poems, songs, etc. to days and end up not writing at all. Jeffrey Eugenides said in an article that no one is waiting for you to write your first book. No one cares if you finish it, but after your first, if it goes well, everyone seems to be waiting. And also, the need for perfection is also one that could cause creative block. A writer, musician, artist should not always be perfect. You get perfect as you keep working. Sometimes the consciousness of not flopping could also cause creative block. According to Good Therapy website, a block might often be a temporal condition, but when one relies on creative construction to make a living, even a short-lived creative block may cause anxiety, doubt, and fear. Creative block, if no care is taken, could result in depression, worthlessness, low self-esteem, and even trauma. How then does one overcome creative block or deal with it? 1. Consistency is key. 2. Do not be too concerned with producing perfect work. 3. Focused meditation is important. Focused meditation that acknowledges internal critic but disregards it. Also, self-appreciation is a key factor to overcoming creative block. I hope you have learned something new. To know more about this subject, you could visit goodtherapy.org and read more. Thank you for staying with me. This is the Inside Out podcast with me, Samuel Ofori-Odame. And I have in the studio Daniel, and I'm going to actually find out from him what he feels about this issue. Daniel, you're welcome. How are you doing?
Well, I'm good. I'm fine. Preparing for some external exams and some ish, but don't worry, I'm all good.
But you look worried. What's wrong?
Because I'm passing through the mental block of writing an exam. I don't know what to write. You should give me more time.
It's well. Okay, so what do you think about this issue, creative block?
As a creative, there are times that I feel that it doesn't come to you, inspiration doesn't come to me every time. I'm an artist, I do draw sometimes. What I'm doing now, I'm actually also a creative, so most of the times when I'm drawing to get the piece I want, it doesn't come to me at instances, and I feel that is like a block because I have something in mind I want to get to, but how to get there is the problem. So finding the means to an end is that roadblock. As you can see, probably if you're going on a road and then there's an accident or something, there's an impediment, so you have to overcome that.
Yeah.
So most of the times, most of us creatives will actually have that. Sometimes it's actually financially based.
Okay.
You should know that.
Okay, so as mentioned in the story I read about the courses, we mentioned financial. Is there any other thing that has caused you to have this block that hasn't been captured in what I read?
Something that has cost me probably meeting a deadline. Sometimes some people, it's actually different for some people, because when they actually have a deadline, they actually be more productive and do something. But once I am at a deadline, I'll probably not be able to produce at my comfort, like at my capacity of like the luxury. I like to work under luxury, and if I'm under like a deadline, I would be thinking of the deadline rather than focusing on the work. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So that's like, at those moments I probably face blocks and things like that.
So how long are you able to go through that?
But it depends. Just once you know that you have a deadline, and then you actually have to meet the deadline. So even if I don't produce to the best of my capability, I would still have to produce. Yeah. But you are talking, haven't you faced it?
I sometimes, so I'm an artist as well, but
Which artist?
I sing.
Oh, you sing. Nice.
So as a singer, I sometimes try to write songs, and it's like, most gospel musicians are like, I receive my inspiration from God. Sometimes I'll be in the bathhouse, God will speak to me. But here's the case, sometimes I feel...
You receive yours from...
something? Sometimes I believe it's not just about the experiences you go through, but sometimes what people say around you could affect you, could result in you having creative block. Because here's the case, people are saying I receive inspiration from God. Sometimes I'm in the bathhouse, God drops a message, and me, I don't receive anything. I don't hear anything.
You're waiting for God to drop something.
You get it? So that alone would make me think through that, and I wouldn't be able to produce.
But I feel that once you found your way of getting your creativity out, you should stick with it. For me, I get my creativity through travel by road.
By road?
Yeah. So like once I go to new places and the rest.
So when we were on lockdown, how were you able to survive?
So that's another thing. Like that period of time was probably very, 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 very hard for some of us. At that time, I could only see the four walls of my house. Like, can't see. And thank God I had a room to myself. If not, I'd have gone crazy. Because those kind of things, I can't go out and well, just all those are like a block. That was like an impediment on my creative, at the creative side of me. But then, you surely find a way through it.
So personally, how have you been able to overcome creative block?
Personally, just going back to what I am comfortable, how I produce my own work in the first place. And I feel like the best as a creative, you should experience things. Like, I certainly don't know for people, but I feel that as a creative, you shouldn't be an insider. You should probably be more of the exposure type of person. You should want to see things, go somewhere. Like, just go out and just go to a beach. Just, you might not have anything or go with anyone, but just experience that and get to meet new people, and those things refreshes your creative side.
Yes, and I really side with you, because you might think you draw inspiration from one particular thing, but as you explore more, you get to find out that other things could influence your creativity as well.
Because you don't have only one creative side. You might be an artist, because you might be a creative and think that you're only into one aspect, but you can actually be a creative and then be into different aspects of the creative industry. But it's good if you have a specialty, but then you're not limited or you're not restricted to just one. People are born with more than one talent, so explore it.
Okay, so Daniel, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you out there, you've learned something from today's discussion. So thank you so much for staying with me. My name is Samuel Odame. I was your host, and I had Daniel Tete join me in for the discussion. So until next time, bye now.